anger a little bit. So, anger sounds like one of those bad emotions, problematic, dangerous, not what I want to be thinking about. I'm here doing Tai Chi or Qigong. I want to talk about rainbows and hummingbirds and healing and slow breathing and blissfulness. It's great. But I think we can all agree that anger is a natural emotion. And anger is not a problem. Even though people have problems with anger, anger itself is not a problem. Just like death is not a problem, but people have problems with death, right? Like, fair enough, right? They do everything they can to avoid it and forestall it. That's all reasonable. But the death is not a problem. The anger is not a problem. Where the problem comes is when people don't express it. So as you said, bottle it up. So now we're just basically building a bomb by bottling it up. And the bomb doesn't have a timer that we can read. And we don't know how powerful it is. We don't know when it's going to go off or who's going to be around when it goes off or what's going to be around. But we can be pretty sure that if the bomb goes off and I'm the bomb, I'm going to get hurt. So that's pretty straightforward. But chances are people around me or beings around me or things around me are going to get hurt too. They're going to pay for that. So bottling up, not a good idea. The idea that, well, I just won't have any, then I won't have it to bottle up, is a great fantasy, but it's a natural emotion. So in Taoism, the path is to express the emotions so that the emotion can be transformed, transported, transmitted. It's only through an expression of emotion that it can transform into something else. So when we think about anger, we immediately think of it as very negative and problematic, and let's avoid the topic, or let's just think about it very briefly and just say, it's bad, never do it, it's bad, and we've covered it. Let me ask you this. In the course of human society, how many governments have been toppled that needed to be toppled? Many, 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 right? I'm not going to argue about which ones needed it, but I think there's a bunch that we can agree on. And how were they toppled? Did anger fuel that?
Yeah.
How many protests have occurred? Could be just protesting your mom saying you can't have peanut butter and jelly a fifth day in a row. It could be a big political thing that you take a flight somewhere to be part of 1 million people marching in the streets. It could be a simple protest of not wearing the school uniform to school because they're trying to make you wear something like that. Some protests ineffective, some of them not seen. But I think it's helpful for us to understand that anger has a way of being positively expressed that changes the world that we rely on. We rely on being angry to get some things done or get some things started or see some things through or recruit some people to a cause. Now, that could definitely go wrong when people are uneducated or overly emotional and they're joining the cause angry, but then they become destructive. So for me, what's important about anger is that we learn to express it in a way that is not destructive, that's healthy and natural, such as the exercise we just did. Is that my ultimate goal? No. What is my ultimate goal? Well, it's not to have no anger in human experience, right? It's just as healthy as it can be not healthy. My ultimate goal would be to have that anger be expressed in a way that's constructive, such as, I'm angry enough, I'm going to get all my friends together to sign a petition, and we're going to go to town hall, and we're going to get that law written, or get that fence put in so the kids don't drown, or whatever it is. That's constructive, right? You didn't do it because you just sat there to yourself thinking, you know what, I think maybe I'll try and get a fence put in. I guess that seems. You're like, I watched a kid almost drown, and I got worked up, right? So, and I don't mean that fence can't be put in only because of anger. What I'm saying is that when we have anger, wishing it away doesn't work. Simplifying it and say, don't do that, that's always bad, you're therefore bad, doesn't work. It's not matching reality. It needs to be expressed so that it's not destructive. So we can easily think about teen boys that have anger, and 98% of their ways of expressing it are destructive and problematic, and that needs to be taught. But the question isn't bottle it up, and the question isn't just autocratically rule over it and say, don't have that emotion, or don't show it. That doesn't work either. I read somewhere that I wish I could attribute it now, but I don't remember. But he's a grown-up man who strikes me as like a manly man, like an ex-Marine or something like that, like the haircut and the dress. So in my view, he's like, a wildfire firefighter or a Marine or something like that is my view. And he said that anger is how I cried, which is like, wow, I think there's something really big there. Just that phrase. I want to look into it and hear what more. I didn't follow it up yet. But it's like, oh, I feel like you just described boys or men quite well, right? Which I thought was really interesting. So maybe there's something there. But anyway, first, accept it as natural. Second, make it not destructive. Third, once you know it's not destructive, try and put it towards constructive ends, whatever they might be. So we might think of it as righteous anger or good anger, right? I'm thinking of the politician who passed a few years ago, and he said, I want to get in good trouble, right? And we think like trouble is just bad, but he's like, I want to be, a thorn in your foot, a thorn in your side, words in your ear. I want you to look at me when you come outside to do nefarious things and see me protesting, and I want to get in good trouble. I want to get arrested for my civil unrest, right? So non-destructive. So in this practice, we're practicing expressing our anger, and the anger is the element of the liver, and as such, it's connected to the eyes. So in this practice, we're really thinking about our eyes, and your face should end up getting recruited to help in that. And I know it's hard to do this because you think, I'm not supposed to make a face, and I'm in Tai Chi class. I don't want to make a mean face. I don't want to do a performative face. I want to actually have my feelings. Just like if you played a political protest song, maybe you'd get yourself into kind of an angry mood because you're hearing it in the drum beat or something, and you'd be making faces, your tone would change, your eyes would change. We want to lubricate that flow of emotion, right? This is why in the practice, I don't want to face another person. I'm not practicing my anger with you in front of me. Right. Not so much that I want to hide it, but I don't want to burden you with it. Right. And I don't want to distract myself by practicing expressing where harm could be done. Mm-hmm. Whereas if I do it towards foliage, the foliage will appreciate the liver energy. We might remember that the other side of the spectrum of anger is kindness. So somewhere underneath this, my constructive expression of righteous anger, in the moment, if we just look at that little sliver of what I said and what my protest sign and looks like anger, but I'm endeavoring to do a kindness for some millions of people who will follow, right? So you can, at the bottom of it, maybe feel there's a reservoir of kindness because it's the same drink.
So I'm trying to think about, I'm trying to verbalize what I'm thinking. In terms of emotions, maybe anger in particular is being kind of a fuel.
Yes.
And so basically, you're putting fuel into an engine, and maybe that engine do something constructive, like,
Yeah. So anger is a fuel. The fuel goes into an engine. The engine is directed towards constructive ends. Yeah. In this practice, I don't want you to try and dredge up anger or invent it or think hard about what would piss you off. Like it's just, if you're paying attention, something's angry. It's not like you go around stomping your feet and swearing at people, perhaps, but there is something that angers you, right? And it could be as simple as your neighbor gets their mail every day and they're next to your mailbox, they could bring yours to you. Like, that's not a big anger, but maybe for you, like, come on, man, you're right there. Why don't you bring it to me? I'm not saying it's great to be angry about that, but if that's your anger, like, have that, express that. And it isn't just like, well, I'm learning I should punch the neighbor. That's what Steve said. It doesn't mean that this has to match how you would address that thing. This is just a way to express it, and it's like from the liver. So when we practice this, we have this massaging of the side as we go. Any follow-ups? You guys happy with that?
no, I'm very angry about it.
Perfect.